Welcome to all learners. Today's session, it is mostly dealing with the course BES 1-to-1 Childhood and Growing Up. This course is a part of Bachelor of Education program. Let I introduce myself, Dr. Elizabath Kuruvilla from School of Education. This course is particularly dealing with the studying of childhood, children and adolescents. All of you know that there are different experiences that children have during their childhood stage. Why to say more? Because all of us have gone through the different stages of development and all of us have different types of experiences. This course specifically addresses one question: do childhood experience will be the same for all culture and societies? Let me see the different blocks of this course. This course consists of 3 blocks. Block 1 consists of understanding childhood and adolescence. And in this course, the first unit, it deals with understanding the concept of childhood. This unit, it details about the concept of childhood and adolescence, and in unit 2, it deals with the socialization and the diverse context of development. You know that children are rearing up in diverse context. As teachers, you must be aware about the diverse context of children. And unit 3, it deals with the different types of socializations that took place at micro, meso and macro levels. Block 2 consists of 4 units which centered around the theme growing up, infancy to adulthood. In unit 5, there the discussion is about the concept of growth and development. And unit 6 deals with the different perspectives in child development. When we look at the different perspectives, we have to analyze the perspectives in terms of biological, bioecological, lifespan and cognitive perspectives. Next, unit 7, it deals with the dimensions of development. You know that the dimensions occurring at physical level, social, moral and psychosocial development. And the next unit, that is unit 8, it deals with the methods of studying children and adolescents. What are the methods that a teacher can use in classroom and out of classroom to study about children? And the last block, that is block 3, it consists of 4 units and the focus is upon the critical debates in childhood and adolescence. And there in unit 9, it discusses how media influence the development of children, and unit 10, it deals with the contemporary issues affecting adolescents. And the last unit, that is Unit 11, it deals with child rights and the role of teachers in protecting child rights. And here, when we gone through this course, what are the expected learning outcomes? After completion of this course, the learner should be able to develop understanding of the growing up process of children in diverse contexts, examine the different perspectives in child development, analyze and reflect upon the impact of developmental context such as family, school, peer group and media on children's development, discuss issues of children and adolescents and to understand the need to provide life skills education to children. Let me see what is included in the first unit. When we look at the major theme, that is childhood as a social construction. When we hear the term child, what are the things coming to our mind? There are different understandings of child. Some may say that it is a matter of physical size and development, and some may focus upon the age criterion. Yes, age criterion is a major factor in defining child. And when we look at the important commissions and committees on child, especially the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Child, it defines a child as a human being, those below the age of 18 years. But whether this age criterion is enough to define a child, not at all. We can see the different ways how the legislations and social policies define the term child. And some may concentrate upon the incapable of body and mind. Incapable in the sense that children, they are not able to take decisions on their own. They may depend upon the adults for support. And some may describe child as next generation. They are the future citizens of India. And lastly, we may see that the natural thing is that the children are so dependable upon adults. That is the way how different people view children. And what is the importance of this social construction? We are mainly focusing upon how childhood is perceived as a social construction. A social construct is a concept created by society, such as the meanings given to certain words and gestures. And we can say that this social construction, it focuses on the nature and the understandings society gives to child. And let me see the perception of childhood, how childhood is perceived in cross-cultural view and historical view. First, let me see these cross-cultural differences in childhood. When we look at the cross-cultural differences, Ruth Benedict has viewed childhood in pre-industrial societies in three ways. The first one, that is more responsibility at an earlier age. Here, the children has to do a lot of works, and they were engaged in domestic work. The second thing is that there is less value placed on obedience to adult authority. There, the parents want to earn respect from the child. And the next one, that is sexual behavior, is viewed differently. There are some societies that tolerate the sexual behavior of children. Next, when we look at the historical differences in childhood, there comes the main writings of Philip Erwies. He suggested that the notion of childhood did not emerge until the 16th and 17th centuries. He conceived childhood as a stage which is unknown to the medieval till the end of the Middle Ages. And secondly, children were considered as an economic asset within the family. And this idea can be linked to Parsons' functional theory. What is this theory states that in Parsons' functional theory, we can view two types of societies, that is pre-industrial society and post-industrial society. Here, the family is fit according to the functions needed in society. When we look at the pre-industrial society, that is mostly an agrarian society, so the family concept may be extended family. But in the post-industrial society, the main emphasis is upon the nuclear family, where the parents, they have to go abroad or out of their houses in search of jobs. So this idea, that is children were considered as an economic asset within the family, it has a link to Parsons' functional fit theory. And more than that, we can see that child labor were common during that age. And the third fact that is stressed by Philip Erwies is that the lack of emotional bonds between children and parents. That is because there is huge rate of child deaths during that time. So there is the lack of emotional bond, and it is stated that sometimes parents never made any attempt to give a name to the newborn babies. And when we come again to the facts of children, how they are conceived, we can see that children are physically and psychologically immature compared to adults. And children are dependent on adults for a range of biological and emotional needs. Thirdly, children need a lengthy process of socialization which takes several years. And we know that the socialization process, it took place, the basic socialization process took place in the family, next school, peer group. And nowadays, the media exerts a great influence on socialization process of children. And lastly, we can see that children are not competent to run their own lives and cannot be held responsible for their actions. They are always dependent upon adults. Let me see the different views of childhood in different periods. The first one, childhood in the Middle Ages. When we look at the Middle Ages, like stated earlier, the stage of childhood did not exist during the Middle Ages. And when we look at the paintings, the portraits of the paintings of Middle Ages, of children, we can see that here on the screen itself, you can see some examples how children are depicted in paintings. Look at the dress. They are dressed, their clothes are dressed like an adult's. Their body language and their expressions, they are like adult body language and adult expressions. So we can say that the children are considered as the replica of miniature adults. And when we look at the view of childhood in the 18th and 19th centuries, there also we can see that the concept of childhood didn't emerge much. And their childhood is perceived as a result of the construction of society. Or we can say that childhood as a social construct. And coming to the childhood in the 20th century, we can see a far different in the concept of childhood. They are conceived as a distinct stage of development where the children needs joy, happiness. There are different types of toys for them, and they are the important attention in family. When we look at Philip Perry's idea, that is children in pre-industrial society, there he emphasized that the concept of childhood did not exist. And next we can see that children were treated as little adults. Toys and games for children did not exist, and children were seen as an economic asset. They have to help their parents at home as well as outside. And their money is considered as an important asset for running the family members. So that the birth of a newborn, especially the male child, is celebrated as the birth of a breadwinner. That is, they are bringing money to the family. And next, let me think, why might the position of children improved since the Middle Ages? When we think of the Middle Ages, we can see that the major factor that influenced childhood is the notion of smaller families. What is this notion about? There, instead of the extended family, the nuclear family concept has emerged. And in smaller families, parents have enough time to look after the affairs of children. They are busy in looking after the interest of the child. The second thing, that is the decrease in infant mortality rate. You know that due to the better medical facilities, there occurs a specialized field in medicine, that is pediatrics. They are concerned about the welfare of the children. Hence, the mortality rate has come down. And the next one, that is the compulsory education. And we know that these children, they have to give education compulsorily. They have their own rights. And the next one, that is the welfare state. In the welfare state, there lies the importance of the welfare of all human beings, including children. And the next thing, that is consumerism. What is this consumerism emphasize? We can see that most of the products they are made in terms of children so that it can be sold easily. So this consumerism also play a major role in improving the plight of children. And the last one, that is the child rights. When we think of child rights, we can see that the major thing, the fundamental rights of children, that is the right to development, the right to protection, the right to participate. These are some of the fundamental rights of children. And more than that, the right to education. They have given a powerful voice to the experience of children so that they have the right to do schooling. And here we can see that through these rights they enjoyed, when they come to school, they are able to develop their abilities at the fullest development. So these factors influence the position of children. And lastly, we can see why might child today not to be a positive experience. Why do we say that? Though we are in the modern age, yet whether all the children are experiencing the positive effect of childhood? No. What are the causes for that? We can see that child abuse, it occurs in various forms, that still there are children who go for labor, and sexual abuses, next bullying in schools. The children, they face this type of negative experiences. And when we come to the next factor, that is poverty, when we look at poverty, we can see that there are children who still marginalized. We can see the marginalized group of children who are growing up in discomfort zones. All the children may not be in the comfort zones. The growing up experiences of children may be varied. We can see there are migrant children and the children who are growing up in streets. Their experiences may not be positive. And lastly, the divorce that took place in family structures, it affects negatively the minds of children. When we look at the structure of family, we can see that family consists of various structures. We can see a move from the traditional family to a single parent family, commuter families, cohabited households. So there are different family structures arising in present society. When we think of this single parent family, the children who are brought up by single parent, they may not be getting the affection of either father or mother. So there is something lacking in the minds of children. And when we come to these commuter families, due to jobs, the father may be away or mother may be away from home. There also, children are not getting the emotional bonds from both father and mother. And next, about the cohabitation, it means before marriage, the couples are living together. And the children they are born, mostly they were conceived as in a hesitant way. Are they getting the positive experience in this cohabited family structure? We have to think on that. So, a teacher should understand these all perspectives of children, how they are perceived and how they can be given a positive experience. So, this is all about in the course in today's session that we have dealt. And I thought that all of you get an understanding about what is childhood and why is it important in learning about the childhood. Mostly we may think that we have to be active on to know only the biological development of children. It is not like that. More than as a stage of development, childhood is an important factor. We have to think that childhood is very important. That stage, what we nurture, how we nurture the child, that retains for a longer time. So, the teacher should get a better understanding about the concept of childhood. And like that, the children can be treated, and the children, when they come to classrooms, teachers can understand them in a better way. How children can be treated in a better way in a classroom, we have to know, as teachers, we have to know their backgrounds. That is an important thing. So in today's session, we have seen the different blocks that covers this course and how the concept of childhood has emerged and why understanding of childhood is important for a teacher. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you.